The episode begins with a city alive with festival cheer, where our protagonist, Feng Ming, is enjoying the New Year's fireworks with his family. Feng Ming introduces himself as an ordinary high school student, but his festive outing quickly takes a dark turn. As the fireworks begin, his sister excitedly points them out, but Feng Ming feels an unsettling sense of dread. His fears are soon confirmed when the joyous display turns into a horrific disaster. People around him start to explode. In a moment of shocking realization, Feng Ming understands that this fireworks show is tragically everyone's last. The scene shifts dramatically to space, where the Earth shatters into pieces. Miraculously, Feng Ming survives the cataclysm and witnesses a colossal monster gathering Earth's energy to restore the planet. He finds himself floating in space as the world begins to reassemble. Back on Earth, Feng Ming wakes up to his sister's concerned voice asking, "What happened? Why are you so scared?" He tries to calm her, saying he's fine but is troubled by the recent events. His sister mentions that the gods are watching us, which surprises Feng Ming. Skeptical, he questions her belief in gods. Feng Ming's sister slaps her across the cheek, furious. "The gods are our rulers. They always protect us. How can you disrespect them like this?" she scolds. Feng Min, stunned and confused, tries to process her sister's words. Despite Feng Min's confusion, her sister beams with happiness, announcing that the gods have arrived. Everyone around them immediately drops to their knees, bowing before the fortune god, proclaiming his arrival. Feng Min's sister urges her to kneel quickly, but Feng Min hesitates, his eyes narrowing in anger as he gazes at the so-called god. With growing fury, Feng Min questions the situation. What kind of god is this? He doesn't see a divine figure, but rather a monster. How can these people call him a god? 2 years have passed. Feng Ming, our protagonist, finds himself in a tense situation. A person confronts him, asking if he's familiar with the mission. In response, Feng Ming receives a letter from the another person. He says that the mission involves the priest of the Temple of Beauty. The other person warns Feng Ming of the dangers ahead, but Feng Ming, hardened by his past, dismisses the warning, claiming there's nothing left in his life to lose. As the conversation unfolds, he encounters monstrous figures, and Feng Ming asserts his belief only in what he sees with his own eyes. They arrive at a building where a grand ceremony is taking place, led by the priest of the Temple of Beauty. Feng Ming speculates that the goddess of beauty herself might appear. Determined to complete the mission before her arrival, Feng Ming reflects on his experiences over the last 2 years. He concludes that complex plans often fail, and it's better to take immediate action. Inside the building, the ceremony draws the attention of all present. His presence causes fear among the attendees, and in the ensuing chaos, Feng Ming launches an attack that disrupts the ceremony. Some artifacts break, and panic ensues as the people flee, shouting about the arrival of an atheist. However, some brave souls suggest capturing Feng Ming instead of running. Feng Ming ruthlessly attacks the priests, swiftly overpowering them. Just as he finishes, the priest of the Temple of Beauty confronts him. The priest reveals that she has underestimated Feng Ming and showcases her power, claiming to be blessed by the goddess of beauty. With a display of her aura, she momentarily overwhelms Feng Ming. As she attacks, Feng Ming is caught off guard but quickly recovers, laughing at her attempt. He reveals that he, too, possesses the goddess's blessing, much to the priest's shock. Feng Ming counters with a powerful attack, severing the priest's hands. She collapses, bewildered at how an atheist like him could have received the goddess's blessing. Feng Ming declares that as long as he aims to kill her god, the power will remain within him. He prepares for a final strike, but the ground begins to tremble. Suddenly, a figure emerges, a stunningly beautiful goddess, the goddess of beauty herself. The people rejoice at her arrival, marveling at her beauty. Feng Ming's reaction is peculiar as he gazes upon her. Why can Feng Ming see the true form of the goddess? And how did he survive the destruction of Earth? These questions remain unanswered, hinting at revelations to come. Realizing the mission has failed, Feng Ming decides to flee before the goddess can attack him. As he runs, the goddess watches him. Feng Ming is suddenly struck by her tentacle, creating a massive hole in his chest. The priest mocks Feng Ming as he lies dying, questioning how he ever thought he could challenge the goddess. As Feng Ming takes his final breaths, he reflects on his failure, pleading for forgiveness for not avenging those who suffered. His mind fills with haunting memories of people being crushed, hanged, and burned. The scene shifts to a haunting memory from Feng Ming's past. He is surrounded by a hostile mob, his face etched with desperation. As the crowd closes in, Feng Ming's anguished cries pierce the air, pleading for them to spare his family. He desperately shouts for his sister, father, and mother to escape, his voice filled with terror and urgency. Despite his pleas, the mob remains relentless. We see his parents being bound and set on fire, with the crowd chanting for his mother to be burned alive. The flames consume his family, leaving Feng Ming in a state of utter devastation as he witnesses the horrific scene unfold before him. The intense grief and helplessness are palpable as he watches the inferno that has claimed his loved ones. As the memory overwhelms him, Feng Ming takes his final breath, consumed by the crushing realization that he has failed to avenge his family. His mind, burdened with the weight of unfulfilled vengeance, drifts into darkness as his eyes close, surrendering to the overwhelming despair. In this moment of darkness, a new figure appears, a girl who approaches with an ethereal presence. She steps closer to Feng Ming, her calm demeanor contrasting with the chaos of his thoughts. She asks him directly if he wishes to seek revenge. Her presence brings a glimmer of hope amidst his sorrow. Feng Ming, still grappling with the situation, asks her who she is. The girl introduces herself as the goddess of disaster, her voice carrying a tone of inevitability as she reveals her identity. The goddess of disaster informs Feng Ming that his fate is dire, but that she cannot offer him wealth. Her words are a mixture of ominous and reassuring, as she acknowledges his grim situation while healing his injuries. Confused by her actions, Feng Ming questions why a deity would help a mere human. The goddess explains that Feng Ming is her only believer, and it is only natural for her to assist him. Despite her assurances, Feng Ming remains skeptical and questions whether he truly believes in her. The goddess of disaster confirms his belief, stating that he must swear loyalty to her in exchange for her help. Feng Ming reacts with scornful laughter, seizing his weapon in a sudden, aggressive move. Before the goddess of disaster can continue, Feng Ming attacks her. His weapon cuts through her divine presence, and she responds with shock and confusion, asking why he would do such a thing. Feng Ming's response is bitter. He accuses the goddess of deceit and expresses his disdain for all gods, declaring his vow to eliminate them all. He insists that even if he dies, he will not allow any deity to approach him. Unfazed, the goddess of disaster asserts her invulnerability within her divine realm, explaining that he cannot harm her here. She approaches him, suggesting that he should offer her his faith. Despite her persistent pleas, Feng Ming remains defiant. The goddess continues to ask for his faith, which leads to a tense exchange. Feng Ming grabs her face, demanding answers about her ability to revive him. The goddess hesitates, questioning what will happen if she admits she cannot fulfill this promise. Feng Ming threatens to destroy her divine core if she admits to her inability to help him. The goddess of disaster pleads with him not to destroy it, assuring him that she can indeed bring him back to life because he is her only believer. Ming takes the blessing without any hesitation, treating the goddess of disaster in a very harsh manner. Normally, a contract would be established, showing that they would work together, but here, everything operates according to Ming's will. He despises gods, no matter what benefits they might offer him. He states, this time he will not be careless again. The goddess of beauty orders everyone to calm down and declares, I've already given him divine punishment. We'll burn that blaze hammer soon, so burn him quickly and set an example for the others. As she looks at the hand Ming had severed, she says, to my loyal believers, I have a gift, and raises her hand, emitting a green light. The severed hand of the priest begins to show signs of life, leaving the priest confused. Slowly, the hand starts to regenerate, and the goddess of beauty tells her, "Enjoy your perfect body." As the hand fully recovers, the priest rejoices, exclaiming, "My hand has grown back! The goddess of beauty is truly great." Witnessing this miracle, the surrounding humans start to worship the goddess. The goddess of beauty, flying forward, notices an underling holding fire, indicating that Ming is about to be burned. The underling, approaching Feng Ming to burn him, says, "Pray that you are reborn as a believer of the goddess of beauty in your next life." He then sets Ming on fire, and the flames engulf him violently, making it seem as though Ming is about to be completely consumed. The goddess of beauty laughs as the humans around her continue to worship her. Suddenly, there's some commotion, which catches the goddess of beauty's attention, and she looks at Ming in confusion. The humans are shocked, saying that it's impossible for Ming to still be alive. They wonder if he is a demon or a devil. The priest orders everyone to shut up, insisting that the Feng Ming cannot possibly be alive. The goddess of beauty watches everything and realizes that Ming has come back to life. She finds this very interesting and starts to suspect that the god and Feng Ming are working together. The underling is also surprised, but the flames continue to burn. The goddess of beauty uses a skill, and the pillar to which Ming is tied starts to rise into the air. The goddess of beauty declares that the city is under her protection, and no one can act on their own here. Then, a huge explosion occurs, and the goddess warns not to try to take over her place again. Her believers are overjoyed, praising her as the greatest and most powerful. The goddess is pleased with her actions until her expression changes to one of pain. It becomes clear that Ming has attacked her with his flame weapon, striking her in the chest, leaving her in agony. Ming comments that he must have been especially lucky this time, as he has completely destroyed her. The scene shows flames everywhere, and Ming's weapon slices through the goddess of beauty's divine core, causing it to crack. Ming smiles, admitting that he didn't expect to destroy her divine core so easily. The goddess of beauty cries out in pain, and her followers panic, realizing that the Feng Ming has returned, and they must flee to save their lives. The goddess of beauty seems to be dead, as Ming withdraws his weapon from her chest, and blood pours onto the ground. The goddess falls heavily to the ground, and Ming watches with a devilish look. He taunts her, telling her to relax, and declares that he will finish her off completely this time. Ming then raises his weapon and, with a fierce expression, attacks the goddess of beauty, leading to a scene filled with blood. The underling is left in shock as the divine core falls to the ground and breaks completely. Covered in blood, the underling refuses to believe that the goddess of beauty could be dead, declaring it impossible. At that moment, it confirms that the goddess has truly been killed. She urges them to leave quickly, while Ming points his flame sword at the underling and states that there's no need to hurry because he still has some of the goddess's followers to take care of. The goddess of disaster, however, doesn't want to participate in these actions, but Ming is determined to kill everyone. The goddess of disaster, feeling uneasy, remarks that she has a bad feeling about this, while Ming, frustrated, tells her to shut her mouth. The tension in the air thickens as Ming, still fueled by his rage and determination, glances around at the scattered followers of the goddess of beauty. Just as Ming is about to strike down another follower, a sudden burst of energy erupts from the remains of the divine core. The air vibrates with a strange power, causing Ming to pause. A dark shadow forms in the place where the goddess of beauty had fallen, and from this shadow emerges a spectral figure, an apparition of the goddess herself. Her form is translucent, her beauty marred by a twisted expression of anger and sorrow. "You dare to defy the divine?" The apparition of the goddess whispers, her voice echoing like a haunting melody. The surviving followers look up in awe, their hope rekindled, albeit faintly. The goddess of beauty said that she cannot be killed just by destroying her divine core. She explained that as long as there are believers in faith, she can be resurrected countless times. She then shouted that her faith is never ending.